Okay. Oh, yeah. It was hot down there. Have to do here. Oh, just close this one. Yep, it's going. Otherwise, it's echoey. Instructions. We're not gonna make it.
Okay with that. Just put the lights off here. We'll all be on. We ready? All right. It's 6 o'clock. Let's call to order the June 28th, 2022 regular meeting of the Pleasantview City Council. Welcome, everyone. A little smaller audience than we had last time. We don't have near as exciting and stuff on the agenda, so it's understandable. We'll start with the item 1, which is Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer, reading or expression of thought by Council Member Marriott.
Y'all please rise. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity we have to meet together tonight as a council and staff and citizens of Pleasantview. We're grateful for the blessings that we've been given, especially for this last week that we were able to celebrate as a city. We're thankful for all the efforts and volunteer hours and sacrifices that people made to make the celebration successful for us. We're grateful for the moisture we've received. We're grateful for the blessings of living in this good community. We are grateful today for the opportunity to vote and to be able to study out and elect good people to lead us as in our cities and counties and states. And grateful for those that are willing to serve and those that are giving their best to help us as a state and county and city to be able to progress. We are grateful for sacrifices of those that serve in the armed forces and those first responders and those in our city that help take care of us. We're grateful for all that God has given us, and we pray that we might be mindful of those around us and continue to serve and help and lift in any way that we can, and we see what we pray for and do in the name of Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Dave. 1B is declaration of conflicts of interest. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda, or is there any conflicts that need to be declared? Okay. Item 1C is public comments, questions for the mayor or council from the public. Anybody from the public wish to address us? Okay. Item 2 is final subdivision plat discussion and possible action to consider final subdivision plat approval for David Erickson subdivision containing 3 lots on 3.76 acres at approximately 1071 West Pleasantview Drive in the RE20 zone. Amy.
Absolutely. So I'm happy to pull up the map here. Okay. I'm going to do screen shares. So. There we go. Okay, so before you this evening is not a new item. This has come forward actually at your last meeting, but due to the way that this was noticed initially and the prospect of having some added improvements on Pleasantview Drive, this was noticed as a before preliminary, but now it's the final. And so per the last discussion, The recommendation and the approval with the preliminary was to remove the requirement for the fencing and then the roadway improvements on Pleasantview Drive. And so with that, there's no modifications or changes since our last discussion on this item. This is to divide this into the 3-lot subdivision for the Erickson property. Any questions?
Yeah, so if we approve it as is, then are we saying that they don't need a fence or improvements on Pleasantview Drive? If we
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct, because the final takes those portions out.
So this would be just basically taking what we did for the preliminary
And finalizing it, correct. And typically, because those the improvement component, oh my goodness, was removed, it would be finalized at planning commission level. But again, because it was noticed, this came before you all, because it would have been a minor subdivision otherwise.
Well, thank you for doing it right. Steve first.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to approve the final subdivision plat for David Erickson subdivision containing 3 lots on 3.76 acres at approximately 1071 West Pleasantview Drive in the RE20 zone, according to what we approved last time with no changes.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Yuri, second by Marriott. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. He's back. All right, thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Item 3, public hearing that was tabled. So an ordinance amendment discussion, possible action to consider amending chapter 18.42 supplementary use regulation ordinance by allowing existing storage facilities options for expansion, ordinance 2022-16. We actually closed the public hearing. We're bringing this back for discussion. Correct?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Amy.
Okay. So before you this evening is a revised version from the tabled discussion on the temporary storage units. And one thing I'd like to note on this, the petitioner for the original application for this wished to be here, but is out of state, so was unable to attend in person. Just as a heads up on that. But we had some dialogue with the Ombudsman's office and really worked through the language on this. And so I believe this is included in your packets, but ultimately it modifies it. So before it had, let me go to the last version, it had this date. And so there was kind of a prescribed location of anything that's west of the railroad tracks that applies to 2 different storage units. And it had a date limitation to December 31st, 2022. There were some concerns with the Ombudsman's office that really, it's good now, it should be good in the future. And then just wanted to look at that a little bit more and make sure that it was fair to both of the storage units if approved. And so with that, the new language that's proposed is existing facilities outside of the location limitation. So that's anything, again, east of the railroad line may be expanded to a total storage unit area, including all existing units of up to 10 acres. And so with what was proposed by the initial petitioner, this would be allowable for them. It would also be allowable for the others if they choose to acquire
Which is
some
that
property.
one bottom of 1,000.
And shall not exceed this allowable size. And so it does give a cap footprint size limitation, and then also adds just a little bit more specification. The proposed expansion area of existing facilities shall not be located along 2700 North or within 250 feet of 2700 north. And that 250 feet, we looked at both properties that apply, and it would allow both of them the opportunity to expand, but would still allow a buffer off of our main corridor where we'd like to have that commercial place. And that is in compliance with our general plan language in a desire to seek diversity of mixed use, but then also the commercial corridor off of 2700.
And so with this language, when we look at the other facility, it would allow them to expand to the north on that marshy land, which,
Correct.
you know, be with it. For me, that's fine, but it would still be equitable, fair, and achieve the purpose that this.
Correct.
So this wouldn't exclude off of 2550 though, right? Because it's 200.
No. The main thing, so it really would cap the size of the development. So if they wanted to purchase properties to the east of that, they would really have some real challenges, because if they were to acquire the property to the south that they're looking to develop, it would put the development size at a 9.74 or 6. Sorry, I can't remember off my hand, but acres. And so really it would pretty well cap it off at that. I think it would be really challenging to subdivide a little tiny corner to add into the development. The number for C. Yes, yes. So the current number of allowable storage units is well below what. Okay, so it was 1,042, I think. And we didn't have that for a certainty, but we're in the hundreds. We're in the early hundreds. We're not anywhere near that number. Yeah.
No, that C is not applicable.
Yeah, the C is really not limiting.
Not to this.
Yeah. But even in other parts of the city, to your point, it's really not a limiting factor. And that's one of the things I think in looking at this, we talked about, we looked at some of the other cities' ordinances, and I think it may be a good time to just look at tweaking ours in the future. Obviously, we want to help the petitioner here. Strike it. Correct. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's great direction.
Sure. Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Gibson, second by Marriott. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Arrington,
Yes.
Gibson, Marriott,
Yes.
Nilsson,
Yes.
Uri.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
And I appreciate Councilmember Gibson's comments, and we will continue to look at revising that. So thank you.
Okay, item 4 is ordinance amendments, park regulations, discussion and possible action to amend chapter 12-12- park regulations and park guidelines by updating the park guidelines document and various standards and expectations relative to the use of city park. Ordinance 2022-20. Amy.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, this is not unfamiliar to you all, but we did notice it properly this time. So before you this evening, and this is something that came up as of recent, and there may be some questions with this. Sorry, I'm getting to the memo on here. But an update to our park guideline document. And so the ordinance itself was something that you all tweaked last time, but the actual park use guidelines document, in looking at it, it had some significant changes that I wanted to look at making, just to clarify some of the things that were in there were quite outdated, and some of the areas where the sections were included were a little bit bumpy as well. It had referenced prior open fires instead of charcoal grills, so I thought it would be good to clarify that because we do not allow open fires in our park. And then just with staking items into the ground, noise ordinance, park reservations, pavilion reservations. And then one of the things that did come up, and I guess this is something that I know has come up from discussion time to time, but is utilizing our special events application for some of these. Also the insurance change that you all approved. But then we have been notified by the health department that their requirement is to only allow culinary water. The thing with that is if we're asking our residents to adhere to that, I added that in drought conditions, we wouldn't allow water features. I don't know if that's too strict or whatnot, but if we're using our culinary supply, that's where I felt that it would be in our best interest to limit that. And then slack lines, tight ropes, and other such activities would be prohibited. And again, if there's a large event, we'd require that special events application. So I don't know if there's the water. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. And we could remove that fourth bullet point if you desire and maybe have a meeting with the health department, because this is more in here to let them know what the health department's requirement is. But one of the things in talking with the mayor, we're not responsible to ensure that they follow state and county guidelines, and that our responsibility is city guidelines. And so if we don't want to list it, yeah, I think if you desired, you could remove that fourth bullet point. I mean, the health requirements on their end still stand, but we could sit down and talk with them too. I'd be happy to set
What
something up.
access to water do they have anyway in the park? We have access just off of the Boweries. That's it. That's the only culinary water.
No, they're secondary water. Yeah, for the culinary, they would have to use their faucet.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the well.
Anyway, I want to challenge that. I think that's what we
Do you have a highlighted of what changes you made to this?
Yes,
or?
it's below. It's kind of scary. It's not scary. Oh, it wasn't in this one. It was in your last one. I'm happy to resend the red lines. It's quite a bit different, and it's not so much that it's different, but it's just the groupings of the topics in that were all over the place. Mm-hmm.
Yep, I've got that too.
Oh, thank you.
For the special events fees.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very inverted. Thank you.
And you had something?
Yeah, I got a couple points I want to bring up. Under the park reservations, it talks about that we don't accept reservations for a variety of amenities, including playgrounds and play courts. Is that a play court? Or are we talking about the pickleball courts?
So as of current, that's our policy. That has been our policy. That doesn't mean that can't change as we get more courts. And And in talking with Cindy, part of the reasoning for that is because we have such limitations on our number of courts. It'd be hard to reserve them right now, but that doesn't mean.
We can adjust this one.
Yes, and that's different. Special events different.
Well, just like Farmington will reserve like 2 courts, you know. So, I mean, do we want to leave it out or do we want to address it come 9 months to a year again?
You want to do that when we have more courts, or you want to do it now?
That's the question, and I don't.
Yeah, that is my question is, do we do that now or do we wait? I mean, we're not, even if you don't put it in here now, we're still not taking reservations. Like, I don't think it hurts anything, but I mean, just a matter of readdressing
Well, I think that right now, this is what we go to. So if people call and say, can I reserve? We say, no, our policy says no.
Okay.
We can change.
I think we could in the future, but with only 4 courts, they're always so full.
That's
So-
where we've really struggled with that.
Because then,
Yeah,
how do you say no when
I think we
everybody
wait till we
starts
get our
to-
new courts.
Yeah, Cindy's concern has been that some people could pay to reserve it a lot more than others, and it creates a parity issue. I mean, just, you know.
I guess you could say,
But
you know,
Well, we can just leave it and then revisit it when we get the new courts, because we're going to want a whole new policy. We're going to want a policy to govern how that's all
Mhm.
used.
Okay, I'm fine with that. And then inflatable toys only permissible at Barker Park. I just need to know the why behind that. Like, why are
That's
we
just
not?
what it's been. I don't know the why.
I don't think we need to just make inflatables just Barker Park.
Because
Like,
there's a reasoning behind that.
yeah.
Do they have access to power and stuff like the city park? Is there access to power for inflatables and stuff?
We kind of already have a limitation on the time that it can be there, you know, so that it won't burn the grass or whatever, right? So for me personally, I don't have a problem putting an inflatable in any park. Like, well, yeah, not Wadman.
That's an obvious. Yeah.
Well, and I think the damage to the lawns too and stuff, I'm not sure. For me, I don't know, we need even now to have them anyway.
Well, it says staking in the ground is permitted with approval only after a placement map has been submitted.
And there's like you can only do it so many hours after another one so that you don't burn the lawn. Like, I don't know.
Well, and when you have more pickleball courts, that might run into a problem too if you're at a city park that's limited space.
But that's what this is for, is you could turn it down and say, no, we have softball games, so you can't have this application. Anyway, I mean, you guys can accept or not, but I don't have a problem with inflatables at Shady Lane or the multi-sports complex or here, like, that's fine, so.
Okay.
I'm just trying to remember why we used
Well, it's just helpful for us because it's surprising sometimes what people come up with on what they want to do at a park or whatnot, and we just want to protect our parks. That's just balancing. No. No.
And then, yeah, Tyson caught my other comment, was just the special event fees.
Yes. Sorry about that. Thank you, Tyson.
All right. Any further discussion? I'd entertain a motion.
So what did you agree on?
So the
We haven't
three
agreed
things
on it.
that were
We're waiting
brought
for a
up
motion.
for consideration, yeah, were the special events fees, which needs to be cleaned up. That was switched the residents and non-residents.
This bullet point, the culinary water.
Yeah.
And what about the inflatable toys?
That don't specify what kind of water.
I'll see if I can at my next Board of Health meeting ask that question. I agree 100% with you. Yeah. Which is potable water.
Right, that,
I agree. Yeah, fine. Okay. Can I? Yeah. Nice.
special events fee, fix. Mhm. Inflatables, allowing them at any
Say,
park.
let's say the inflatables toys are not permissible at Wadman Park.
But with all the other things that we have to do.
So that's already part of it, though.
Good. That's a good way to
I'll
put it.
second.
Motion by Gibson, second by Arrington. Further discussion? This is a what? Just a ordinance? Just an ordinance. All right, that's 20. All right, roll call vote. Arrington,
Yes.
Marriott, Gibson, Nelson,
Yes.
Yuri. Okay, motion carries.
Can you bring that back when you find out? Because I don't know why.
Yeah. If they'll tell me. They might just tell me that's the way it is, who knows? And we'll have to get a meeting.
Well, and
with
I
them.
wonder if they'd let us
Item-
do it if we put a sign in.
Item 5, vehicle leases. Discussion possible action to approve 5 3-year leases with the band corps for 5 police vehicles. Chief Hadley.
And just to clarify, Chief, so the leases will still start at July 1st, correct? The leases will start at July the 1st. So we are needing to insure the vehicles prior to, but they are working with us to make sure that we don't have double coverage on the leases. So thank you, Chief.
That's a pretty nominal amount, I'm
It-
sure, for a week's worth of insurance.
Yeah, it is minimal.
Got a question. So it says estimated annual mileage. Can you go over 15,000, or do they ding you for that? So that's a safe number. We feel good about that one. Okay.
Steve? That's what's great about this lease company, and the fact they're willing to give us more than the residual because they're a hot item right now, and they know we could sell them. So yeah, we can look at that. I think it's going to be hard to beat, but
So how does the residual work then? The termination value is here. It's anything above that we would get back? Is that what you're saying? Percentage of it. Yeah, because vehicles have appreciated in the last few years, couple of years, and the police vehicles are no different, I would assume. Yeah.
beauty is that on the police vehicle, it's a little different from like Tyson's vehicle. Police vehicles are harder to resell because they're police vehicles, and people kind of, you know, it's like almost like having a branded title, except you have a police vehicle title, and so there is kind of a difference in the mentality out there. The lease company, they know the value of them, and they're going to resell them to like even possibly other police agencies or government agencies that you know that are small agencies and that kind of stuff. So they don't care that they're a police vehicle. Yeah. Okay.
So we're just releasing 5 now. Are we releasing the whole fleet?
We're doing 5 now. We've done 2. We did 2 last time.
Right.
We do
So
these
this will
5,
be
and there'll
the-
be 3 more when they get here. Yeah.
The complete fleet will be taken care of this year. Okay.
So the
there
chiefs
is-
worked really hard to try to get them here around July the 1st, but also to get them here because of the shortages in vehicles. And so we've had a couple that have landed a little early, but they're working with us on. That's an excellent question.
They're the antimatter blue.
Oh, no, they're
They have warranties, chief. Oh,
Are you ready for a motion? Me too. I'd like to make a motion.
We're building home.
I'd make a motion that we approve the 5 3-year leases with the Bancorp for 5 police vehicles.
Good motion, Ann. I'll second it.
Motion by Arrington, second by Marriott. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, benefit protection coverage. Discussion and possible action to approve a benefit protection contract for Tier 2 public safety employees as required by Utah Code Title 49, which is House Bill 70, Resolution 2022-0. Is that an O? Or is
Like,
Resolution, so it's O. Yes,
Okay. It's okay. Laurie.
And this is a tricky one to figure out. I just been calling everybody, but this is kind of what I came down with, what it's all about. What is a new law? This is not a permanent election, so whatever we decide tonight, we can keep changing the election. We go to workers' comp, or we can go to long-term disability, so it's not permanent. But if somebody gets injured, whatever law is in effect is what we have to follow. There's no cost to the city until there is a disability. When there is a disability, we have to pay into the Utah retirement system contributions until they get their credits, until they're at retirement age or they've got their years in. So the city will have to pay for that. But we'll also have, this is where we're going to choose, is either go for a long-term disability contract, and so if there's any disability, you have to pay. If you go through a workers' comp, it's only in the line of duty disabilities that we have to cover. And it's only for the tier 2 public safety employees. Right now, I think we have 4, but they're all the younger groups. All the older groups are on the higher tiers. So eventually, as the years roll by, they will all be on tier 2 as we all age. So what you're deciding tonight is I attached the form right here. I crossed off the tier 1. You were covered with tier 1. So it's the tier 2. Either we're going to use the long-term disability method or the workers' comp method. And then I just have to send this form to them, and if there's ever disability, the city will then have to pay.
So, kind of a couple questions. So we're saying that if we go the workman's comp route, it's only if they're disabled while on the job. But if we go with the other one, it's disability anything. Okay. My other question is on disability insurance. There's different, like, you get different rates. So like if they cash in at 1 week, our premium's higher. If they wait and see if they're disabled for, like if you wait for 3 months before you claim the disability, our premium's lower. If it's 6 months, our premium's lower. So do we have like a set amount of how long they wait before they claim the disability?
All I know is once they're verified to be disabled. And I don't know what that step is. I don't know if it's with the Social Security, or I don't know who says that they are. Is there a guideline with that? It would have to be them.
We're really waiting on more to come into place here, but the challenge is the state's already approved the law, and so we have to do something, and we have to.
I know. I just met on this on a board meeting, the 911 dispatch board, who are public safety employees, and there was the recommendation of the Weber County's Human Resources Department that they pick the option of the workers' comp. So that's what they picked. So they did some research.
It seems to make more sense.
Yeah. I think it keeps it in line with all the rest of the employees too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The supplemental option right now, or
It's
not
a requirement. It's now a requirement, and that's the hard thing is all of the pieces are not in place on this, and so we're working with.
well, we can change the election later.
Yeah, we can change the election next year, and if you'd like an emotion, you can, whatever option you determine, we reevaluate. This is just for public.
Yeah, they would make sure they qualify for that.
All right. This is just for public safety, not
Yes.
all of our employees. Okay.
Public safety. That's what that House
Gotcha.
Bill 70 was. Okay.
That's that resolution.
Oh. Okay. Okay, motion. Yeah. Motion by Gibson, second by Uri. Any further discussion?
As far as discussion, I just want to evaluate when we, adopt this and stuff, if there are options on the waiting period, and evaluate what the difference in cost is to us and if that's acceptable.
Well, I'm just wondering,
Well, we can see if workers' compensation option, and if it has, what I'm sure that the law. I'm not sure. I would hope that the law would specify what
Waiting
level we
period
have.
is.
Yeah, we can work with them on that.
typical disability though doesn't restrict to to work related only. Most insurances that cover disability, right? Is that?
Like you can purchase disability.
Yeah. So
Right.
I don't know. I just wondering if that really should be an option that city. Well, I was just talking public safety right at this point.
And what we're required.
Right, so we're
We're required to have
state law.
workers' compensation for everybody. Do we have a long-term disability plan supplemental to workers'
That's
comp?
not required. It is an optional election for employees, but it's not a requirement. But this is the intent of this, and it was Representative Wilcox that pushed this forward, is because officers oftentimes deal with a lot more physical, mental anguish type circumstances to really protect them. And firefighters, all emergency.
So do our employees have an option to opt in to a disability on their insurance right now? Okay.
I guess that's what I'm wondering. Will this protect them more than what? I mean, just the workman comps portion of it is work related, right? It's only work related.
We have supplemental insurance, or even like Aflac and all those.
Like they have an option, they can choose that if they
pay,
want.
They can pay for it themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're not.
Which is the same as the rest of the employees.
Yeah, okay.
I'm all about fairness. I'm all about if they need help. You know, we provide employee assistance programs and other things that they can take advantage of also. This bill was a little bit problematic, I thought, when it was first introduced, and still is. Everybody's really scrambling to try to figure it out. And you call URS, they, oh, this is simple, and then okay, explain it to us, and they don't have an explanation for it. So all the cities, all the district, everybody that's got a public safety employee is really trying to sort this all out right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see something come back as a
Amendment next year.
frankly.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Straighten it out.
And the hard thing
But the
is,
fact, yeah, we can revisit this too. If we chose wrong, we can adjust it.
So is there no disability type protection for our public service servants
Right now, we have.
right
one,
now, right?
But it doesn't meet this criteria for that tier 2.
Okay. All right. So this is this would be additional and better than what we currently have at this point. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And we have to.
We have to, yeah.
Okay.
comply with
Yeah,
state law.
that's a good thing.
Recommended.
I think it's a good thing for our because it's a tough job, and whether you get physically injured or you know, it makes more sense if you're tackling a suspect and you break your arm than if you're playing at home a softball game with your kids and you break your arm. I'm not sure that. I'm not sure that should put us on, but if you're doing your job and you get injured, then definitely we want to take care of you. Okay. Did I get a motion in a second?
Yeah, we're ready for a vote.
Okay. This is probably a roll call, isn't it? Resolution. Where is it? Well, there's P. All right, Arrington,
Yes.
Gibson, Marriott,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
and Yuri.
Yeah.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, consolidated fee schedule. Discussion and possible action to amend the new and replacement garbage can fee of the consolidated fee schedule, resolution 2022-P. Tyson, welcome.
This is just a pass-through fee, and it's gone up again. They moved it up to $133.39. And so we're just asking to up the consolidated fee schedule to meet the new costs per can.
Not around it though.
Yes, and we have in the past generally up because it did do at least 2 smaller ones in between the last adoption and this one. So that rounding up helps buffer that.
Was this just for initial purchase or replacement
This is to purchase new can.
for us?
Yep. Or
Buy them as a.
replace, yes. If you're
So
one, it costs you $133.
A new resident, so if, building a home.
We made a change a while back, right, for damage or replacement. How is that going now? That's what the new price is, but I just wondering, are you getting people feedback that, hey, that they were damaged by the garbage
Yeah,
company?
and most of those we'll look into and go with the kind of waste. I haven't heard of
They
them.
have cameras.
Terrible bunch of them. Yeah, they video everything going in and they know what happens, and most, once they follow up with the con of waste, they have everything they need to dispute.
Well, and
Yeah.
one thing I've been impressed with Tyson's crew is that I feel like they really work with residents, and I didn't know this before during our prior discussion, but depending on what's damaged, I mean, like if it's a wheel, sometimes they'll have spare wheels, they can replace that and they don't charge them. Something's wearing out, so they kind of work with residents on a case-by-case basis and only are replacing those when they need replacement. So it's not.
We do that as part of their fees. Any of that replacement, we can't do lids,
In
the
mine first.
roll bar for that, and the axle.
The body is just the hardest part. You can't. There's a big gash in their hole.
There is a
I can for 65.
Built before COVID.
The older cans are a lot more durable.
Yes. There was a known compound in the older style cans that made them significantly tougher that I'm sure causes yips. So it's been removed.
Built before COVID.
Yeah,
I do have a question though, Tyson. It's like the actual cost. So the legislature and the state auditor has basically said we need to examine our fees to make sure that they're fair and defensible. And so the obvious question is, the garbage can's gone from 84 to 104. Why are we charging 134? Is that to?
That's the current fee. The actual cost is $133 to us.
Well, okay, I'm confused as that third whereas then.
The third whereas.
Oh, people from, I mean, if they're gonna use their cans, we're gonna start paying them for the guys to run out there and replace it. And
yeah, those are the ones.
I'm talking about the third whereas, not the third section, not section 3. The actual cost for garbage cans to the city has increased from $84
Oh, we need
to
to.
$104.35 to $1 per can.
I saw when I was writing the ordinance, that was an old one, so it did go from 84 to 105 last time, and then this is now it's
104 to the other one. So
Okay.
I just didn't have that.
Oh, Mary, you're so good at.
So then
What I got in my packet.
So if you decided to approve it, we just ask you to modify that section to reflect the 104.35 to the one, and if you wanted to round it, maybe
So it's 133,
134,
39
135.
in the whereas.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a question. When people come into, taking a can to go done, is it explained to them that this is not their can, they're just
It is their can.
But, well, it is, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, they come in and they say, well, we're paying monthly fees on garbage, and so there's that disconnect, it's up to you, why do we have to pay to replace the can?
Yeah, and it says right on the top, property of Pleasantview City. They're technically our property. That's why they can't take them with them to their new home, but that's also because your new home might not use the same trash service, and there's different arm mechanisms.
That isn't to say that, I mean, they don't complain when they call and say, well, if I'm paying for this whole thing, I can't. So you're correct in that.
So this is a rental.
I always use the mailbox as an example. If your mailbox gets damaged and my hinge is now being fallen off, the postal services don't come out and replace my mailbox for me, but that's the only reason it's there. So
But you can take that with you if you leave.
You can't take it with me when I leave. You can't take your can with you when you leave. So that's the one I always try to reference. A comparable.
Yeah, that's the tipping fees.
You know, it kind of is a fine line. Like I like having, you know, we had people coming in before that were like, my can smells and I want a new can, you know, and if you tell them like it's $145, they're like, I'll go clean my can, you know what I mean? But there are some people who, yeah, like a wheel falls off or whatever, but you're saying we can help them with the small parts.
Yes, and a lot of them, they'll call in thinking
And
they
they
need
do
a
with the
new
wear
can.
And then we can just put a lid or okay.
And we just fix them for them and explain all that. So it, you know, when they come up.
We have less people putting fireworks in their garbage can and stuff like
Oh yeah,
lighting
and
it.
the ones where you follow the ash trails out from their fireplace and they don't know why it's melted to the ground, and
Yeah.
you know, there's
When they fill it up so heavy.
Yeah. Well, I
I've
remember as a
got
kid, we
pictures
bought
of
our own cans. We drug them out to
fire
the curb every
water
week.
heaters
So
sticking out the top of them, and then they wonder why the bottoms are broken out. I think that's even in that, under the property part of it, says no ashes,
No match.
fire.
I'm ready. I'm ready to make a motion. You guys ready?
We're ready. Real fast.
Come on, let's go. All right, I'd like a motion. I'd like to, how do I start this? I'd like to make a motion that we approve the new replacement garbage can and consolidated fee schedule with some changes. That the third whereas will say the actual cost for garbage cans to the city has increased from $104.35 to, we're going to go to $134 even.
$133.39. No, the actual cost.
Actual cost $133.39. And then, okay, and then we're going to go
$134 on section 1 and section 2.
Section 1 and Section 2 we'll round up to 134. And that's resolution 2022-P.
Okay, motion by Arrington, second by Uri. Further discussion? Roll call. Arrington,
Yes.
Gibson, Marriott,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Uri.
Yes.
Motion carries. I think.
Not fast enough. They're out to like 8 to 10 weeks now. So we order 60 at a time, and they're going so fast you pretty much order the next 60 just because you don't have the room to hold a ton. So once we get it cleaned up, we'll try to do bigger bulk orders.
They're made in Brigham City, right? That was
Yeah.
Okay, item 8 is a closed meeting. Consideration for a closed meeting pursuant to one or more of the provisions of the Utah Open and Public Meetings Law. We do need a closed meeting today to talk about the character. Has anybody got that official?
I don't have it.
The health character or something of an employee. Yep. 448 was our count. Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to close, go into
So
a closed meeting. Okay, that's a roll call vote also.
Made the motion.
Mary.
Okay,
Marriott and Uri, second.
roll call.
Okay. Arrington,
Yes.
Uri, Marriott,
Yes.
Gibson, Nielsen.
Yes.
I'm gonna shut off everything here.
And we're going to excuse everybody.
Can I address another item first?
Before.
Well, it is a close, it's related.
Okay. Yeah, you can go, Tyson.
Tyson, you better go.
I don't. Amy's got me